הטובונים שירו למלך, הטובונים שירו 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 למלך, זיו פרס ופויו, אשרי עבודו בוי עבודו, המשמיעים בקושי לכל, והטובונים שירו 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 למלך, שירו שירו למלך, אשרי עבודו בוי עבודו, המשמיעים בקושי לכל, והטובונים שירו 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 למלך, שירו שירו למלך,
והטובונים שירו שירו, והטובונים שירו למלך, והטובונים שירו 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 למלך, וזיו פרס מפויו, והטובונים שירו שירו, והטובונים שירו למלך, אוי הטובונים שירו 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 למלך, וזיו פרס מפויו, אוי 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 ואשרי עבודו בוי עבודו, המשמיעים בקושי לבחור, והטובונים שירו 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 למלך, שירו שירו למלך, ואשרי עבודו בוי עבודו, המשמיעים בקושי לבחור, והטובונים שירו 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 למלך, שירו שירו למלך. Oy oy vi ashle yavodo boy yavodo, oy hamash mi yim bekoy shi yim bekoy, ve atovonim shiru 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 la melech, shiru la melech, oy vi ashle yavodo בקוי שיפוי,
Shalom, 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 folks. Shabbat shalom, shalom. How you guys are doing today? And I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And of course, the weekend was really pretty and warm and no any natural disasters or anything. So I hope you all had a good time. And me too. It was as usual a busiest weekend, and hopefully that getting ready for tomorrow's work. And so I thought that today we can talk about. I had little time, so I thought that probably we'll talk about Mark chapter 15. All these days we were unpacking Mark, the Gospel of Mark. The Gospel of Mark was the first gospel written in the New Testament. So almost we are at the end of the gospel. We are at the climax scene, 15th chapter, final climax is happening. So as you know, when you enter or when you near the final climax scene, there'll be always a lot of dramas, a lot of picturization, a lot of things will happen always in any movie situation. Same thing in final chapter in 15. There's a lot of drama in chapter 15. We're going to unpack today. It might take a little time today, but still it's worth listening this, and definitely you will learn or you would learn a lot of information today. Hopefully this will help you to think at least some more deeper into the gospels, into the into the Bible, that what you're reading, instead of blindly believing and moving on. I think this would definitely help you to get through this gospel of Mark, and it'll make you definitely think. So without any further ado, so we will just jump into the Mark chapter 15. Let me go and read it for you guys. And again, before starting reading my book, the main disclaimer: I'm not against anybody, I'm not against the Christianity or priest or pastor or anyone, but at the same time, I am here to tell the truth, only the truth. Definitely, truth is bitter. It's going to take a long, long time. It's not easy to get it accepted by anybody in the world, because it's so painful. It is so bitter. It's not easy to accept the truth. But whatever it is, we got to tell the truth. There is no other go. Truth has to be revealed. Truth has to be told. Truth has to be definitely, you know, um, reflected. That's what is happening right now. So I'm telling you the only truth that you should be following, you should know at least. And all these days you were in some kind of a dilemma, or maybe in the terrains of belief system. But now I want you to know and understand the God you're following, the God you're looking into, the God you're worshiping, the God who is protecting you and who is definitely engaging in this world. So having said that, let's go and start Mark chapter 15, the final scene of this gospel. And straightway in the morning, the chief priests with the elders and scribes and the whole council held a consultation and bound Jesus and carried him away and delivered him up to Pilate. And Pilate asked him, Art thou king of the Jews? And he answered, saith unto him, Thou sayest. And the chief priests accused him of many things, and Pilate again asked him, saying, Answerest thou nothing? Behold, how many things they accuse thee of. But Jesus no more answered anything, insomuch that Pilate marveled. Now at the feast he used to release unto them one prisoner, whom they asked him. Then there was one called Barabbas, lying bound with them that had made insurrection, men who in insurrection had committed murder. And the multitude went up and began to ask him to do as he was wont to do them. And Pilate answered them, saying, Will he that I release unto you the King of Jews? For he perceived that of for every the chief priests had delivered him up. But the chief priest stirred up the multitude that he should rather release Barabbas unto them. And Pilate again answered and said unto them, What then shall I do unto him whom ye call the King of Jews? And they cried out again, Crucify him. And Pilate said unto them, Why? What evil hath he done? But they cried exceedingly, Crucify him. And Pilate, wishing to content the multitude, released unto them Barabbas, and delivered Jesus when he had scourged him to be crucified. And the soldiers led him away within the court, which is the praetorium, and they called together the whole band, and they clothed him with the purple and plaiting of crown of thorns, and they put it on him, and they began to salute him, Hail, King of Jews! And they smote his head with the reed and spat upon him, and bowing their knees worshipped him. And when they had mocked him, they took off from their purple and put him on his garments, and they had led him to crucify. So um, let's go and unpack certain things, folks. This is really, you can go and read the whole Mark chapter in your home too. But let's dive into this chapter. First of all, you know, we saw in several drama in Mark chapter 14. In the 15th, you see that Jesus was arrested and was taken to the high priest Caiaphas. You know, Jewish court system, Sanhedrin, did not judge at the night times. How it was possible? Because you remember that Jesus was caught on the night time and he was taken to the priest called Caiaphas, who was a high priest there. Usually, the court system do not function or never function during the night time. I don't know how it's happening out here. No function during the night time of Jewish court system. Sanhedrin would never open that one, right? So the verdict was delayed because the next day was the Sabbath. Usually the cases were done after the holidays. They had the Passover, they had the unleavened bread, and these are all the Sabbath. They continuously happening 2 or 3 festivals on the same week, and the Sabbath is falling down. They had to take it out pretty quick. They had to move quick to the Sanhedrin and get it things over. But at the night time, they don't usually meet at the night time. So these are capital punishment because Jesus was blaspheming the God. That was the biggest punishment that they were seeking on. So these were the capital punishment, and Sanhedrin people were not doing this capital punishment, or cases were not conducted in a place just like that on the night time. All right. So usually these capital punishment cases were conducted in a place called that Lishlat Agnasi. I mean Agazith. What is it? Lishlat Agazith. So this is the place where they were doing all this capital punishment inside the temple, right? But which is called the chamber of instone. But you cannot take this one as an ad hoc procedure and to keep this, this court system going in the priest house. They would never do that. Jewish people would never do that, having this one to be done in a priest house, that too in the midnight, right? So, which was never had, which they never do that. And also, at any trial, there should be an attempt to homemade witnesses. There was a lot of witnesses, and the witnesses were contradicting. That what the Matthew 14 said. And also, the Sanhedrin process is that if all the Sanhedrin, the members of the Sanhedrin, all come to a verdict in an agreement, that means the victim will have to go free. There should be at least one person to provoke and to get questions regarding this case, then the case will be brought into the trial thing. But if no one is asking anything, if everybody is agreeing something, that means the case is closed, the person can leave. Actually, basically, he was supposed to leave and he was about to leave, right? Because it was already been, everybody was in unanimous blaspheming and telling him all these things. So Jesus was about to, he was supposed to be, left for that day, but he was brought into the system. Anyhow, that's the court system, right? And also, Sanhedrin never proceeded or presided this capital punishment because they cannot kill or they cannot do a capital punishment in the Sanhedrin. So the court tried to build false witnesses, but the witnesses fell against them each other. They contradict each other. So after the trial was over, Sanhedrin delivering Jesus to Pilate because they didn't have any permission to execute on Jesus. So they had this conversation going on with Jesus, and then they pushed the this case to the Pilate because they said that these are all things we found, and this is what it is we want to give it to you. So during the Pilate is asking only one question because Pilate doesn't care who Jesus, but he was asking only one question, which was very important question on those days because Roman kingdom occupying Jerusalem was so afraid of the Messiah because it was told in the Jewish culture every Passover Messiah was expected. So Roman kingdom, they knew very well about this Hebrew culture. Anytime the Jewish Messiah could come, and anytime the country be taken, which would be a big surprise. So Roman kingdom didn't like that one. So they wanted to make sure that nothing is happening. So double the amount of people, double the amount of security, double the amount of everything is happening to secure the whole building and other things. This is what happening there. And here and this uh, person was telling, um, what is it? It said during the festival season, huge crowd was there in Jerusalem, and was tightly packed up, and the whole no Roman kingdom was nervous because they have to provide the security details at the time period. So the chief priests accused on Jesus many things. There is no reason to pile on Jesus now, as they already been handed over to Pilate. The another scene here, these people, the chief priests, they couldn't find any more thing to pile on Jesus, so they push it to Pilate. Even after pushing to Pilate, these people are piling cases again on Jesus. You know, Jesus forbade the followers to pay the taxes. That's a big issue. This is one of the issue of Jesus forbade the followers to pay taxes. You don't have to pay taxes. So that's a huge issue for the Roman kingdom where they were expecting all the taxes to be paid on the right time. So that was one thing. So and then John MacArthur, who was one of the messianic interpreter, what he says at one, um, okay, so I think so. Anyways, there was tons and tons of questions were thrown out to Jesus Christ at that time. Even not only one thing, because did you, are you the King of Jews or anything like that? There are tons of questions were asked on the day to Jesus Christ, and Jesus wasn't answering anything. Why he wasn't answering anything? That's a question. Why? Jesus was a talkative person. In John 18, go and check it out. If I say, he talks a lot, he preaches a lot. He was a rabbi and he was a teacher and preacher. He should be talking. But here at the Kolkata, the Bible says that he didn't talk. Why he wouldn't talk? Because one of the leader called John MacArthur, what he was telling is that Jesus kept quiet his mouth to fulfill the prophecy which was told in Isaiah 53. How come? In Isaiah 53, there is a prophecy. They're talking about the Jesus Christ or the Messiah, basically, that he would not be opening his mouth, whatever the trouble that he is facing in. So Jesus wasn't opening. So in order to fulfill that prophecy, Jesus was not opening. This is the understanding of the Christianity. Christian people always say this one, which is not correct because how come it's possible a person who, just to fulfill the prophecy, not doing anything? No, it has to happen automatically. That's what the prophecy is for. It is not that you have to fulfill the prophecy, whatever it says, the same thing you shouldn't be acting. The situation should arise exactly how the prophecy were told. That's the one way that you can identify this, about the prophecy, but here Jesus says that one, it was a prophecy, was fulfilled by Isaiah 53. It happened over here. So um, Pilate was so surprised that Jesus was not responding anything for any accusations. Usually, Jesus responds, right? So Jesus forbade to, um, John MacArthur, yeah, as I told you already, Gospels didn't cite it about the commentaries states that because Gospel never told that Jesus was silent because of the prophecy was told in Isaiah 53. But it is not right. A person kept quiet just to fulfill the prophecy. That sounds ludicrousy because this should not be look like this. Of course, yes. You cannot act just to fulfill the prophecy. It should be there automatically. That's what it is, right? So, well, anyway, um, actually, Jesus was not a silent person. As I said, that he was a very talkative person. Passover festival, one prisoner to be freed with zero evidence. For this, Romans were not like this, and moreover Pilate was very violent. So basically what they're telling is they were asking the Roman people are asking, who would you want to release, because Jesus is there, and then there was another guy called Barabbas. He was there, and they want to release one person. That was the usual routine in the Roman kingdom. That was the author is writing, but there is no evidence for that one. Roman kingdoms or Roman people are not going to wait for all these things to happen. So I don't think there was a routine or there was an habit of doing all these things. But this was done by the one of the other groups. Uh, um, in this thing. So what happens basically here, like uh, one person should be freed. Roman kingdom never did this. How come it's possible? This guy was a rude guy. This guy was a murderer. This guy was a thief. How come Roman kingdom would release him in this society? It's going to be very dangerous for the society, and especially Roman kingdom was very much worried about the security of the people. But here, they're trying to get this one out. So the Passover festival, they have to release one person. They need to release one person, either Joseph, either Barabbas, or Jesus. That's what they were looking for, you know. But finally, that Barabbas got released. So Barabbas was a murderer. That's what John says in his book. And also, in here, in other places, the name of the Barabbas was a thief or a liar. So multitude come to Pilate to release Barabbas. Pilate asked them. Chief priest stirred up the multitude and asked Pilate to release Barabbas. This is I could not understand. How come chief priest stir up the multitudes and asking to the Pilate to release Barabbas? How come chief priests can do it within no time? See, a week ago only something was happened that every one of that city was having all these palm tree, the branches, and they were shouting and yelling and rejoicing with joys, like with all these songs, greeting Jesus. And all of a sudden, and they were telling them all, they were talking Hosanna, and Hosanna is the highest. They're praising him. They're bringing to the city. How come all of a sudden, within a week time, they were asked to, do the worst thing possible for these people? How come they can do? How these high priest they changed their mind just like that? Was it a magic? I couldn't believe it. So that was one of the thing they're talking about. So how come it's possible that they could able to do it? So Pilate asked people, what should he do to Jesus? Mark says people should crucify him. why wouldn't people take the opportunity to release him? Because they know that their leader was caught and they were putting him to jail. Now there is a question, from this group, that what to do with the Jesus, because you guys said that you want to release Barabbas. So what I should do with the Jesus? So these things are happening. These answers are happening within one night. These court people are training them or trained them within a few hours to tell all these things. Couldn't believe it. It's not going to happen. It will never happen like that, right? So, um, and they said that people asked the people. I mean, Pilate asked people, "What should he do to Jesus?" Mark says that people should shouted, "Crucify him." And then Paul asked people what he should do to Jesus. Why would people take the opportunity to release in the Jesus in the Mark Gospel? Why Pilate asked in public? Why Pilate asked in public? And why crucify? Why not in the prison? Why can't you put him in prison for life deaths and something like that? Why would you crucify him? Right? It is something like they should think about it. Why Jesus should be crucified? Why couldn't Jesus be in the prison for some time? So Jesus was put in the prison and he was executed by the Romans and not by the Jewish people. No way possible, not by the Jewish people in the cross at all. Romans were telling this, what that will happen for Jewish king, didn't Jesus didn't blasphemy at all. They crucified him on the third hour. This is very important, folks. Listen to this very carefully. They crucified him on the third hour. Though what is the first hour? First hour is the morning 6 o'clock, 6 to 6:30. Usually, like it's almost like 12 hours of a day and 12 hours of night. That's what the Jewish system is. So on it says that it was like first hour of the AM that the was given to act according to the John. Jesus was first taken to Annas, and late that night, um, you know, um, the when we talked about the third hour, he was crucified. I just want to tell you about the first hour, second hour, third hour, all those things. So it's almost like usually it's on the based on the it says that regarding Judas Iscariot or something sometime back. So the first hour at 6 a.m. and the third hour is at 9 a.m. According to John, Jesus was first taken to Annas, who is the son-in-law for the priest, or what is it called, for the high priest, Caiaphas. So they're taking him to first to Annas, and then after Annas he was taken to Caiaphas, and from Caiaphas he was taken to the Pilate. So you know these all things happening within the night, and one night, all these things, the routine. I mean, it is not going to be easy. They had to go to meet the Annas first, from Annas to Pilate, from Pilate to again to the um, Layla Ramesh, WhatsApp audio. Oh my God, 1 second, guys. ഞാൻ പിന്നെ വിളിക്കാം. 1 second. Layla Ramesh. 1 second, guys. Layla Ramesh, WhatsApp audio. Hold a second, folks. ഞാൻ മെസ്സേജ് ഞാൻ പിന്നെ വിളിക്കാം, ഒരു നിമിഷം. So I'm sorry, folks. So basically, what happens here, that the whole things happen in the whole night. Like first hour, ninth hour, Jesus was crucified, and they're taking from Gethsemane to Annas, who was the son-in-law of um, um, the Caiaphas, and then from Annas to Caiaphas, Caiaphas to Pilate, and then from Pilate, then Jesus was taken to Herod, and then from Herod again he was brought into Pilate, and then he was giving them to the public, to scourge him, to crucify him. These things are happening within this short time period, which is highly, highly impossible to happen. That's not going to happen just like that. It's not, and then he was crucified at the ninth hour. I mean, third hour he was crucified, which is very, very difficult. You see, according to John, Jesus was first taken to Annas late at night, because after the Passover Seder, because they already ate their Passover Seder, then they go to Gethsemane, then the prayers were done. After that only, they caught Jesus and they're taking to, Annas. So it was late at night. Annas is the son-in-law of high priest Caiaphas. He was taken first to Annas, and then he was taken to Caiaphas, and then to Pontius Pilate. In Luke 23:16, it says that he was taken to Herod also. Then he was taken back to Pontius Pilate. Then he was taken to be crucified. Then he was scourged in the room. Then he took the cross and walked to the hill, Golgotha. So basically, he was, taken to a room and he was scourged, and then he was taken to the Golgotha by, carrying all those cross. So these are happening only by walking. There is no mode of transportation there, no Uber or anything. It is all by walking. These things are happening. Just by walking, going to Herod, coming back to Pontius Pilate, going to Annas, going to the Caiaphas, coming back to Caiaphas to Pontius Pilate. So there was a lot of movement is happening without any trouble. By third hour, Jesus was crucified, which is unbelievable. It is highly impossible to happen like this. So John 19 and 14 says that John was telling the trial of Jesus was still going on sixth hour. Again, John is reporting in a different way, because Mark was telling that in a third hour he was crucified, but here John is telling in the sixth hour it was still, the debate was going. The trial of Jesus was going. This is really totally messed up story, which is not correct at all. Verses 27 and 28, Jesus was hung between robbers. This happened just to fulfill the prophecy. What is this? Again and again they talk about this has happened to fulfill the prophecy. This was happened to do this, to complete the prophecy. How come it's possible? Why would we do just to fulfill the prophecy? Already I told that Jesus was not opening his mouth just to fulfill the prophecy of the Isaiah 53. He shouldn't be doing it. It should happen naturally, right? But why Jesus wasn't talking? Because he wasn't talking anything. He was taken into the stage just like a lamb who was, shortened her hair or something like that, who was taken for cutting the hair. So the sheep, or they never opened the mouth. Likewise, Jesus also, he didn't open, because that is highly impossible. Jesus was a very talkative man. He talked with everybody on those days, even the preaching and everything. So he was talking. He was very talkative on those days. I'm not sure whether he cannot talk it or not. So nobody should act just to fulfill the prophecy. Nobody should do that one. But Jesus was doing. That's what the gospel is writing here. That's a problem. So, but here in the Mark were executed with the transgressors. So they said that he was executed with the transgressors. But the original thing is that what happens is that he was hung in between the rich people, but he was buried in with the not rich people. So not with the transgressors. That's what he was done. Basically. So looks like Jesus, while he was on crucifixion, while he was on the cross, like Jesus, cried out in a loud voice, basically reciting The Aramaic translation of Psalm 22, my God, why thou forsake thee? So it looks like Jesus was much inspired with the Psalm 22. Why in the world that he was quoting Aramias? Because, um, and also, uh, you know, in this whole narration, you can see that looks like that Jesus went to pray and he was begging the master to release him, and everything, is trying to communicate with the God. So, like, he looks like he was inspired by the Psalm 22. Why in the world that he was quoting in Aramaic? Why Jesus be abandoned? He is God. Is it possible? So there is no way possible that Jesus, would be abandoned like this. He shouldn't be, because he was God himself, right? That's what the Christianity belief is. Son, Father, the Holy Spirit. So if it is there, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, if all three are together, then why is that it is happening that, he was that, he's telling that, was he was abandoned or something? He wasn't abandoned. And if he is God, he cannot say that word that he was abandoned. He can't say that word. If he's one other God, like, you know, like Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Um, so why Jesus was forsaken? He was incarnate. He came to get the killed again, to get killed again. Why is crying now that he was abandoned? Why Jesus asking to God to rescue him? Let this hour pass away, and he take the cup from me, and whatever the scene that what we saw, right? Barnabas, centurion. After that, the last one was Barnabas with the centurion. And then centurion comes with the realization. He says, "Really, he is in the Son of God." But now, how? What he saw everywhere in the New Testament, talking about Romans, only Pharisees and Sadducees were making trouble, not other people. That's kind of a last word I put. But think about this, folk. In the last chapter, the 15th chapter of the Gospel, so many things happening. How it's possible to have a trial like this with the Jesus Christ running here and there from Pontiac to Herod to Pontiac, back to to the nursing. I mean, sorry, back to the back to the Annas and the Pontiac, the pilot. So how much is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and how much time it would have taken, and they were not having any transportation to walk through. They were doing everything by walking. So it's kind of a highly impossible, these things, but they wrote the stories for you to believe it. But these are the flaws in the stories. And oh my goodness, sorry. Right? So Jesus was not even talking a single word when they were asking him a lot of questions. The Mel Gibson made The Passion of Christ. That movie, right? In that, they were scorching him like anything. Jesus could have asked very easy, so many things. He should have communicated with them. Why he didn't do that, I have no clue. Jesus was a talkative person. He should be talking it. I don't know whether what he did. He didn't do that good, right? So, and also. Um, what else was that? And then Jesus was hung between the two robbers. But the Bible says that Jesus was hung between the two rich men. That's what the Tanakh says. And then he was buried among the transgressors. But in here, he was hung between the transgressors, which is not correct. Okay, and also we talked about that already, about the Caiaphas and all that drama going here and there, and uh, when Jesus was on the Gethsemane garden, and that he was trying to wake up these guys, to be with them. And also there is a release of Barabbas. That was the worst case possible. Nobody would say that to release Barabbas. How it happened, we do not know. Is it a true story? We do not know. But that's what it is written there. All right, folks. let me get out of this place. And I think I had some good information for you guys to search and look for it, and then find yourself the right thing. But today I will leave you guys here, and I'm going to finish 16 for next week. So till then, Shabbat Shalom, Shavua Tov. May God bless you. God be with you. Take care.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה